All right, so Brandon says we're good. All right, Alexa, off.
Bye, Alexa.
Okay, yeah, I know. It's the mood setting. I got a little music going.
I like her.
Okay, well, yeah, she's pretty good. She's pretty good. But yeah, so we have yours, and then we have ours, and I know you're camera shy. Not, no.
Depends on who you ask.
Well, I told you all we're gonna do is have a conversation.
Yeah, this is fun.
So
I love to talk. So
Th-
she didn't listen. Alexa, turn off.
this is the way this works. Really? She didn't even
likes
listen to me, and she listened to you?
She likes me.
I thought she was the only woman in my life that listened to me.
Sorry.
Sorry, Jen, if you're listening. All right, guys, we're ready to roll.
Yes.
Because on this jam session, Shelyna Tinglin stops by.
I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you, and I am because, you know, and you've watched the show. You know how this show works, right?
Yes.
So
I'm in the hot seat.
You're in the hot seat, but the big thing is for me, doing this and why I do the jam sessions the way I do them, is to help you get more eyeballs on your brand, because I know that
Awesome.
camera right there, they all know you. That's
Yeah.
your camera.
Love you all.
That's all your peeps, right? So
Yes.
shout out over here. But these cameras, there's a lot of people out there that may not know you.
Oh,
I'm
you
sure
get to know me
everybody
well.
knows you,
Absolutely.
but maybe there's a few of them that don't.
Yes.
And what I do hope by doing these jam sessions, the way I do them every week, is to bring eyeballs to your brand so that it can help build your business.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Exciting. Thank
And
you.
you know, if you wouldn't mind, you know, share with the peeps, and maybe some over here don't know,
Yeah.
but share with some peeps a little bit about you from a 30,000 foot view, because I'm going to get into a lot of the
Gotcha.
details,
Okay.
right? About who you are, why you do what you do.
Okay.
But just, you know, share a 30,000 foot view if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, let's go high level. So, a former teacher, 15 years in education,
Woo.
decided it was time to stop the insanity. No, just it was time to move on. So I left education. I was a realtor, dual career for 2 years, and then branched out to do this full time. I attended my first closing when I was 9 years old. So I guess you could say real estate has been in my life for a while. So I'm a realtor, a business coach, and a mentor.
Realtor, business coach, and mentor.
Yes.
But you were a teacher for 15 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And what grades?
I taught every grade from 2nd through 12th. I didn't kindergarten. I'm good. Nope. Mm-mm. They cry when you look at them. Like, why are you crying? She looked at me. No.
So, man, that's got to be so much that you took from teaching
Absolutely.
and how you've really put that to work in real estate.
Yes, it has taught me how to deal with people with multiple personalities.
Kids have multiple personalities?
Yeah. So do adults.
I have a 14-year-old right now. I understand multiple
Oh,
personalities.
you're limited. So it taught me patience. You gotta have patience.
Yeah.
And it taught me you have to give more than you receive, because education is about giving, and
Yep.
you gotta be willing to give of yourself and sometimes not expect anything in return.
100%. We've talked about that. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to give with no expectation.
Absolutely.
And so that's what you found through teaching. Patience is a big one, right?
Yes.
And especially when you're dealing with the single largest financial transaction people make in their lifetime,
Absolutely.
it's very emotional. Patience is probably something that it's a good skill set to have.
It is, and I find it hard that I get home and I have zero patience, but I get with the client and they're like, oh, I don't know if I want this house. I'm like, it's okay, take your time. You got about an hour. So, you know, it's patience in this business, absolutely, because it's a huge investment.
Right.
And I don't want someone to be rushed into making a decision and then have regret.
You know, one of our biggest strength, and I feel on my side of the business from what I do, and one of my pillars is educate.
Absolutely.
Right. So I love from hearing that from a teacher that that's an important thing, is to give without expectation, but you're giving what, right? And we've just chosen to give content, to give education to help people make their lives better, to help them make better decisions,
Right.
to help make them make informed decisions.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, and I know you're the same way. Hey, owning a home is so much better than renting. 100%, right?
Absolutely.
There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But there are people that need to rent right now and eventually buy.
Yes.
And so it's important for them to understand, because they hear and they get pushed with all this noise about buying, and then they get discouraged or they lose hope. if they can't buy today. So it's important for us to help educate them as to what it's going to take to get to that home ownership level. And that's just giving, and that's education, right?
And I'm glad you said that, because I come from a theory of never a no. So if I meet with someone who's in a position where, well, I can't, do it right now because I'm renting, there's never going to be a no. It's just say, okay, not right now. What's our plan? We're going to develop a plan to get you into a home and get you out of that rental. Because at the end of the day, we know that your best investment is purchasing. But I understand your situation, so let's build your plan. And your plan, that's where the education comes in. Here's what the plan is going to be. So everybody thinks they know everything about home buying. Well, I think I know everything about brain surgery, but I've never done it before.
Or they go to Google and they research
Please
it.
don't do brain
I got
surgery
everything.
on
I got
someone
everything.
after Googling it. No. So it takes that education from someone who does this every day, from someone who's in the trenches, to say, hey, well, I have a 700 or 800 credit score. I can't buy a house.
Or I don't have 20% down. Right. I mean, so all the big myths, and so education's a big part. I love that from coming from that world as a teacher, you've been able to deploy that same skill set to your children, right? Which end up being the potential buyers and sellers that you work with.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so morning routines. Let's get off with that, because a lot of people have different morning routines, right? And I feel that it starts in the morning. Everything starts in the morning. Mindset number one. Okay, so some people like to get up and work out. Some people just get up and do, right? I'm kind of the one that gets up and does, right? I don't have a morning routine where I get up and work out.
Gotcha.
Wife and kids and big business and all, and working out just kind of. I don't know where it fits in. I don't know where it fits in. I know. I don't know where it fits in yet. So what would be your morning routine?
So every morning I wake up, prayer, Bible study is first.
Yes.
Because I'm very thankful and grateful that God chose me to wake up this morning. So after I get into that, if my trainer, depending on my trainer's schedule, I work out. So I do
oh my goodness, you're one of those.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
So my degrees are physical education, health administration. So that's my background, and I love everything health related. Even though I like to eat, but we're changing some things up. So I'll do that first, and then if my trainer's there, we'll do powerlifting or whatever is on his to-do list that day.
Oh, I love that.
Boxing and kickboxing.
Yes.
That's my thing. So whatever we're doing that day, and then after that, I'm jumping on my first and tens. So that's the first 10 people that I need to call that day. Whether I'm giving gratitude, checking on someone, seeing how they're doing, getting the kids ready, breakfast ready, and then I jump into business. So it all starts with that mindset. So I'll have affirmations on my mirror. You are strong. You are powerful. This day is yours. Own it. You are determined. Get it done. So I like to remind myself that you are strong, powerful, and determined, and remind you all out there that you are strong, powerful, and determined to have an awesome day.
Wow. I'm excited, guys. I don't know about you, man. I feel powerful and strong. No, I'm serious. I do get it. I mean, you know you see my style and what I'm about and everything like that. And it all starts right here.
Exactly.
Everything starts right here. Like competition, we talk about it. I really believe that there are no competitors outside of what's in between the two ears.
Exactly.
Right? So you have to get right with yourself first so that you can then help more people. Right? So through prayer and meditation, through just a enormous amount of positive belief, right? It starts there, and then everything kind of comes into play. So then it's like, okay, if you want to do working out, that's your deal, awesome. I one of the best times I was in the best shape of my life was kickboxing. Right?
Love kickboxing.
So shout out to a guy named Guy Metzger out there, big professional kickboxer, like world champion. I mean, he whooped my butt. I mean, it was the best feeling I've ever been in. And then I got stupid, got in the ring with him one day, and it just didn't work out to my liking. So I decided to shift gears. My wife's like, you're kind of important here on the home front and the business front. We don't need you kickboxing this guy. But it was a great workout, and you just release so much. I say toxins, but you release so much of those that energy that's there that you need to be able to have room to replenish, right? So working out's good, but my big thing with my morning is it starts the night before.
Absolutely.
I mean, I want to prepare my mind. I want to prepare my day. Really, before I leave here, the office. the day itself on what I have, but my mind, that evening.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to walk into an office space, I don't want to walk into my day
and not know what's going on. Yeah, planning
Right.
is, and that again, from the teaching standpoint, we have to have a plan. And most of the time, we're planning 3 months in advance. So
Right.
my calendar is planned out for the week by Sunday, and I'm doing a high-level view on Sunday. Who am I meeting with? What time? When? Where? What? What's the purpose? Because every meeting has to have a purpose. So
Every meeting
if
has
I
a
don't
purpose.
know, I don't understand, then I need to backtrack and follow up with that person on Monday to make sure, are we clear on what the goal is and expectations and what we're doing. So absolutely, planning is perfect.
Planning is the best path to
Yes.
a successful experience for that other individual.
Absolutely.
If you walk in, you're going to feel scattered, you're going to
Yeah.
feel not in control, and as we know, while we're in real estate mortgage, this is a feel and experience business.
Yeah.
The better we feel, the better experience we have. The better we can make our clients feel,
Yeah.
the better experience they have.
And it builds energy. If I know I'm excited about something and I'm walking into it, I feel energized. And then you have a better conversation or a better business meeting, or if it's a client
You
consultation.
feel enthusiastic
Yeah, I
about
just
what
feel
you're walking
great.
into.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And that is contagious.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
so, what do they hear on the other end of the phone, or what are they seeing when you're on the other side of the table, or belly to belly with them in a meeting? They get excited about their hope or
Yeah,
the
it's
possibility of what they're about to get.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
family, what's up with that?
Ah, that's awesome. So I have 3 children, 4 if you count the husband, 5 if you count the dog. So, and I do count them.
I do count my dog. She gets a nice pillow and some good thread count
with
sheets.
that?
It's our life. I mean, we have a boxer, and I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
they're family. They're
I
kid
know.
to us. So kids,
Yes.
and of course we as husbands are kids. So go ahead.
Well, I have 2 in college, 1 going into middle school, and then my husband, he currently works with Fannie Mae, but he's been in the same business for years, but he's not a lender. So I caveat that to people. He does not do loans, but he works.
He works in the lending business. Yeah.
In the lending business.
People we
so-
sell loans to.
Yeah, but he's also my accountability partner, so he keeps me in check, which I don't like. I don't like it.
Oh, really?
No, because he's hard on me. Did you call so-and-so? No, I forgot. Okay, so exactly why are you on Facebook and you haven't called Oh,
Facebook's a business channel, right?
It is, but he's about make that call. So yeah, he keeps me accountable.
Good job, hubby.
I don't give him any credit.
No, I mean, my wife keeps me in check all the
She
time.
is awesome. Love me some Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer.
No, she's good, and I think accountability partners
Yes.
are really are great for businesses. And my wife and I work together. We've been married 22 years, worked together for 22 years.
Awesome.
I think I love it when I see other couples working together because it takes a skill set to do that. And even though you don't work together, you're in the same profession, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's good to have that balance, that harmony with each other, where you can accept, his feedback or his accountability.
I don't like it.
Even though you don't like it, you accept it, right? Because
Yes.
it's in good and with good intention.
Intentions, absolutely.
Yeah. So kids and I mean college, middle school.
Yeah, well, one is on her way out of college. The
Okay.
other one is on his way into college and then middle school. So it's going to be exciting. Yeah.
Man, I'm 14 and 12, and I got one going into high school,
Yeah.
and
It's
just
exciting.
it is exciting. It's exciting for them. They play sports. That's all the emotion that gets wrapped up in that. But it is different because there's different pressures. There's different
Absolutely.
things that they're thinking about, and how to help them navigate through that in a way that they hear it. And I know they're not listening to me
Of course not.
right at 14, but hopefully they hear what I'm saying
Yeah.
based on past experiences that
Yeah.
I had that could maybe help shape their
Yeah.
future.
And as a teacher, I can tell you, they are listening. They may not, you may not see it all the time. You may
Yeah.
think, oh my gosh, you didn't hear anything I just said. But one of the great things about going into high school is they create these experiences. And it's those experiences that help them form who they're going to be. They're listening. They hear you.
Yeah.
And they're going to avoid those mistakes. And Dad said don't do this. I can't let him know that he's cool and I'm listening, but they're listening.
Yeah, mine kind of did a full circle. Like I think when I got to right out of college. I mean, right out of college, I'm like, damn, my parents were actually pretty smart.
Right?
I mean, all the stuff was starting to kind of come together, and I'm like,
Yeah,
you know, all these things that they were telling me, I'm starting to see it. And,
exactly.
you know,
So you listened,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you just
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
show it. So
Yeah.
that's how my kids are too.
Are they? Okay, so it's not just me.
Yeah, no, it's not. No. And the great thing about, you know, before I left Frisco ISD, I taught 6th grade, and it's amazing how you see them come in the first day of school, and they're these scared little babies, and then by the end of school, they're running down. I'm like, seriously, this is not a track race, but they listen and they transform into these different people. So it's so awesome to watch them grow. And it's just like home buyers and sellers. You're watching them grow from being novice, they know nothing, to now they're like, oh, I can help somebody buy or sell a house by calling you. So
Right.
it's awesome to see that growth.
What's a good fun fact that somebody's not going to know about you? So, I mean, this camera might know more.
Yeah.
This one, these don't.
Okay.
But I want
Gotcha.
you. I
Okay.
still want you to give me something over here that they
All right,
may not
all
know
right.
about you.
Ugh. Besides being a Spartan beast, a root to all my Spartans out there, I'm extremely competitive when it comes to those races. So a Spartan beast, for those people who don't know, is a 16 to 17 mile race with obstacles. You start off awesome. You're like, I love this. By the middle, you're like, I'm dying. Why did I sign up for this? And then you cross that fire and you get that medal. You're like, I just did this and I survived. So it's this great thing where you got to change your mindset while you're out there, because no one's coming to get you. So you're up in the wilderness and you're just out there. So it's one of my biggest challenges.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, it's one of my biggest challenges, greatest accomplishments, and one thing that I absolutely love.
So my company, shout out to Tim Smith. He organized it, and we have, you know, typically 30 to 50 people run the Spartan race as a company.
Really?
Every time they do it. Yeah, so they travel all over,
Awesome.
you know,
Okay.
and he's a bit on me, Tim. I'm sorry, buddy.
Have you run the race yet?
No, I haven't
We
run the
need you- I need
race.
all of you to send some likes to get him to run the race.
You know, it looks painful. It
is.
looks difficult. Now, from the mental side, right?
Yes.
Because what you realize is the body can take so much more than what you know it can.
Exactly. Yep.
But you have to be there mentally, and I feel like I'm there mentally.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with any of that.
Yeah.
It's just committing to it. It's the
Yeah.
time. It's because like I thought one day, this is how stupid I am, right? I'm like, White Rock Marathon. This is like, I don't know, 10 years ago. White Rock Marathon's coming up in about a week and a half. I'm like, I'm gonna go run the White Rock Marathon. And because I ran and
Yeah.
I'm like, and I talked to a friend of mine that's like, and she like is a master runner, and she's like, oh, I think that's awesome, Bob. How much do you run right now? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I can run around the lake, White Rock Lake, you know, 9 miles or whatever.
Right.
And she's like, oh, that's great. You know, the marathon is a little bit more than that, and it's coming up in like a week and a half. She goes, I'm like, yeah, but I could do that. Mentally, I got this. She goes, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you come out on Saturday and run with us? We run at 4:30 in the morning, and we're going to, it's one of our long runs, so we're going to run about 22 miles. I'm like, that sounds great.
Right.
And I did. I went out and ran 22 miles, and she's like, you know,
Wow.
fist up, good job.
Yeah.
So Tuesday or Monday, we're going to come back and we're going to do like a really slow run just to break down the muscles a little bit more, about 8 mile run. Yeah, I got like half a mile into it, my IT bands, everything shuts down, my legs clamp up. I had nothing left.
Right.
And she smiled. She knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
She's smiling. She's like, you're not ready. And the lesson there for me is I know mentally I can get out and do anything I need to do one time.
Yeah.
But to really accomplish what you're talking about and do these things to where like Tim and my team does it, you have to train. And you have to do something consistently to get your body right. Exactly. Mind can take over, but your body ultimately is going to propel it forward and say, yes, I can do it, because eventually your mind's going to be like, hey, I got this, but your body's like, no, you don't, buddy. You're shut down.
Exactly.
So you do both. Mentally you're there, and then your body, so you've conditioned yourself to where you can run those races.
I've put myself in the mindset of just do it, because it's terrifying, because you get out there and you're like, well, the first time I did the race, it took me 8 hours. And 8 hours with no bathrooms outside. You know, all the guys, they were good, going in the woods. I'm like, yeah, we're not going to do that. So it was 8 hours before I finished that race. But mentally, I said, I cannot quit. I cannot give up. I have to keep going. And it was a drive and determination for me to finish.
I'm sure that helps your buyers when it's a tight market and they're trying to try to find them a home. You're not giving up on them.
No, I've had some clients that has taken 1 year, 2 years to get in the house, but they got there. They didn't give up.
I love that about you.
Absolutely.
If a buyer's out there, how do they find you? What's a phone number? What's a website they go to?
So call or text me at 347-869-0236 or find me on Facebook at Shelyna Tinglin. That's it. Just call or text or find me on Facebook. Yes, I know it's an out-of-state number. I am from New York. Go New York Giants.
No, you can't say that on this. No, absolutely
Love my
not.
G-Men.
No, shut this thing down. Are you kidding me?
So call or text me anytime. Look me up on Facebook. My Facebook page is Successfully Sold. I'll be more than willing to help you out and just have a consultation. The biggest thing is building relationships. So it's about just sit down and talk. The information is always free. And what I tell people is the information is free. It's what you do with that information that will determine your future.
Where do you draw inspiration from? Please don't tell me the New York Giants.
Well, yes.
No, where do you draw
Beckham,
inspiration from? Oh, come on.
I do a lot of reading, and I have aligned myself with a lot of people in this real estate business who have inspired me. We have Nick Good. He has been a guy I can call and say, hey, I have a question, I need your help. In my own office, I've had Amy Flores, who's been awesome. Tanisha, she's been awesome. I read a lot. I'm into Bible study, so I pray a lot. And I love The Go-Giver. That was one of my most awesome books. Love reading that book because it's about giving instead of always looking for receiving. So I draw my inspiration, a lot of it also from my husband, Dwayne, because he's one of those people, hustle is his first name. And I'm just standing back in awe like, why aren't you afraid to do that? And he's like, why? Why not pick up the phone? I didn't want a cold call when I first started this business. I'm not calling strangers. Forget it. They're going to hang up on me. He's like, why? There's no connection there. Why? Just talk to them. You need to solve a problem. So call them.
So most people have the fear because they're afraid because they don't know or they're not confident in the value that they're bringing to the table because what they're wanting is something back.
Yes.
Right? And so that's where that fear comes from. And so if you eliminate wanting something back and be confident that what you're bringing will solve something for them, then all you're doing is giving.
That's it.
And you're educating. And then what they do is if it is enough value and it's broken down into something that's very, very clear and simple to understand, then they buy.
Absolutely.
They buy from you.
Yeah.
And so then that's where the fear gets eliminated, right?
Yep.
And then then it's just the dialer.
That's it. It's just pick up the phone and give value. Always come from contribution. Whether I'm knocking on someone's door, I'm going to offer you something. I'm not here to take anything. I want to give you something. And, we're all wanting to know, well, what is my neighbor's house selling for? I'm going to tell you. You don't have to go out and, research it. I'll tell you. So just, take the free information. It's free.
So you're from New York?
I am. Born and raised. Texas is one of the first states I've ever lived in outside of New York. So
how long you been here?
Shocked. 10 years.
10 years?
I know.
Oh, you still have family in New York?
All of my family is in New York. Yeah, all of my family is either in New York. I have some in Virginia, Washington. They're all on that side of the world. They think we all wear cowboy hats and ride horses. So I have been asked, have you bought a horse yet? And I'm like, now I like horse riding, but it's not in my backyard. So no.
Okay, I'm going to give you a pass on the Giants deal.
Thank you.
I will.
That.
I mean, it's hard for me.
The Super Bowl winning New York Giants. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah, not so much. But I do like the Yankees, so I'll go that way with you.
Okay.
I'm a big Yankees fan. Have been. I played baseball growing up, so
nice.
I've always enjoyed.
Have you been to Yankee Stadium?
No, I don't.
Go. It's awesome.
Not the new one. I like the old one.
The old one was awesome. Yes, I'll get you a New York Giants jersey, and then you.
No. I don't need the jersey. I'm okay. I'll get you the Cowboys. I'm going to invite you up to the club.
I always needed a duster, so yes.
Oh, damn. You're probably hating me over there. These cameras love me right now. So did you ever feel like, I mean, coming from teaching, what got you into real estate? Did you ever feel like you were going to be in real estate, or how did that transition happen?
So, growing up, my grandmother had instilled a lot in me. She always imparted in me, and she took me to her closing of her house when I was 9, and I'm a 9-year-old sitting at the table like, I just want to be outside playing Rock Wars or on the playground. Why am I at a closing? And I'll never forget, at that closing in New York, the attorneys are there and buyers or sellers are at the same table. and something went wrong with the transaction. And the attorney pulls me out of the room and he's explaining to me, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking
and
about.
9 years old. Okay.
But apparently it was something my grandmother wanted me to learn. And I never understood why I was in that room until now. And it was something that was imparted in me. So real estate wasn't something that one day I just woke up and said, I think I can make a lot of money doing this. I want to do it. No, it was something that has always been with me. I'd help people navigate real estate before I got licensed. And then I said, I need to get licensed to do this the right way so that I'm not putting myself out there for liability. Got licensed and then just started helping people. But it's always teaching and helping have been my two strongest suits. So it was just natural. It felt natural for me to just go into that field.
Wow. So speaking of teaching and helping, what are you seeing right now in the market? We hear noise, that the market could be flipping. We've been in a seller's market for a long time, meaning a lower inventory. And that means just with all the buyers that we have out there, there's just not enough homes. Are we seeing a shift at all? What are you experiencing out there?
I love this question. So I always tell people, well, it depends if you're buying, selling, or investing in real estate. So here's my thing with that.
Okay.
I am seeing more listings come on the market and not enough buyers. So in any market, it's just economy. We're going to have checks and balances. We're going to have shifts. They're going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So I'm seeing a lot of people put their homes up for sale, and now 30 days have passed, 45 days have passed, 60 days have passed, and they have no buyer. And they're like, well, what's going on? Well, guess what? Your neighbor down the street listed their home for sale $10,000 less than you. So I'm a buyer. I've raised my hand and said, I want to buy a home. I have two houses sitting in front of me. One is $10,000 less. I'm going with the one that's $10,000 less. So we have buyers on the market, but too many listings. So you're going to have a market that is going to shift in favor of the buyers.
Right.
So the whole, the market's going to burst and our economy is set up to where I lived in 2007. My husband was in the mortgage business during that time, and I can tell you Texas did not get hurt as much as we did in New York. So
I mean, California, New York, Michigan, Florida.
Still has not recovered.
Right. I mean, you get in those areas. I mean, granted, we don't see the peaks, but we also don't see the valleys that those areas have. We're pretty steady Eddie.
Yeah.
We're
so
pretty
there's a
consistent.
lot of listings, and it has a lot to do with condition and location.
Right.
If you're in an amazing location that people are drooling over and your house is in a good condition, it's going to go. It's going to sell. But if you are saying, I don't have to do any update, I'm just going to put a sign out there, trust me, your neighbor down the street has taken note. And when they list their home, they're going to make sure that they have those things that the buyers are looking for, because they know, hey, listen, there's these buyers out here with all these listings and no one's buying them. So you're sitting 60 days later and you're wondering, well, why isn't my house selling? You won't drop your price, and the market has told you, hey, we've rejected your price. It's not me, it's not anyone, it's the market telling you we've rejected your price.
You mean that you're telling me that the market was going to tell you what the price is, not what I feel my house is worth as a seller?
I feel like I can fly, but am I going to do it? No. You can feel.
Hey, look, I've bought and sold plenty of homes, and when I sell a home, I get it. When I sell a home, I always feel my house is worth more.
Yeah, everybody thinks that their house is worth, the weight in gold. And I understand. I mean, I totally get it. It's your home. You've put all this love and passion into it. But at the end of the day, it's what the buyer is willing to pay for it. So if the buyer is telling you, I'm not willing to pay that price for your home, it's time to renegotiate your pricing.
And now, as a real estate professional that's helping buyers find those homes, you're really going in and helping them understand what the market's really at with related to that neighborhood, to that particular home, and helping advising them basically on how to structure the offer. Is that correct?
Absolutely. My job is to educate them on what the market is doing. So before we put an offer in on a property, we're going to do a CMA. And we're going to see, okay, well, what has sold in the neighborhood over the past 90 days, 6 months, because that's what an appraiser is going to look at.
Absolutely.
So if you've priced your home $50,000 over what the other properties have gone for, we're going to have an appraisal issue. So that's the first thing I'm going to warn my buyer about. And then, of course, I'm going to ask the other agent on the other end, hey, talk to me about where this pricing came from, because I don't want them to feel like you have to buy this house. We don't. There are options out there. And then if we do get into a situation where, houses under $200,000 are flying off the market. That's just it.
Right.
Investors are buying them up, and no, they're flying off the market. If we come into a multiple offer situation, I write a letter on behalf of my buyer so that they can see the emotional side of it, where they know this home means more than just a closing to my buyer.
Right.
Without this home, my buyer can't fulfill their dreams of raising their family in their home, of building a future for their family, creating a legacy for their family. So will you help them do that for their family? And that's an emotional tie-in that
It's
people
emotional
will buy
and it's
into.
memorable.
Yes,
It's emotional and
absolutely.
memorable.
Absolutely.
And so when that seller is going through
Yeah.
different offers,
Yeah.
you're giving them a way to connect. So
Absolutely.
it's not just a number
Yeah.
that they're looking at
Yeah.
as far as the price.
So I have a question
It's
for
the connection.
you. What are you seeing in interest rates right now?
Well, that's okay. And actually, I think Brandon may be putting it up on Instagram here pretty quick. So, I do a mortgage report every week that kind of sets up the stage for that week, advising my followers, my community, kind of what's happening in the market,
Yes.
right? Should they lock or float their interest rate if they're within a 15 or 30-day window?
Yeah.
And then if you guys follow me, if you don't follow me, you need to follow me. Go to Instagram and just search BobMortgage. So follow me on Instagram as BobMortgage, and then in stories, because Instagram stories go for 24 hours, right? Insta stories. And I post kind of what's happening that day, right? So I'll do a quick post as what I'm seeing, and if I'm needing to convert from let's say a floating position to a locking position. Because on Monday, we released a mortgage report and we were carefully floating. I wanted to see what was happening with the economic outlook this week, because we have a lot of numbers coming up. Well, by Monday midday, I converted from a floating position to a locking position. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that. Because I had set a threshold of where the bond prices were at 101.5. I said, look, if they fall below 101.5, I'm going to convert. And they did. Well, this morning, in pre-market trading, we were at like 101.39. So it was a good decision to convert from a floating to a locking position on Monday, because right now we're in a negative place, and we expect interest rates to be a little bit worse today than where they were Monday and Tuesday. Okay, and a lot of that was because the 10-year Treasury note yield hit 3%. Which, that's a big number. 3% is, because we haven't seen it since June 13th, and we're starting to see interest rates rise a little bit. Now, the Fed comes out of the meeting today. We're not anticipating the Fed to increase interest rates today, right, at all. But it is, there's going to be some comments and setting up what's happening with the economy, what's going to happen with, some job growth they're expecting. And they're going to give us a little bit of insight, or maybe some clues as to, are they going to be increasing interest rates, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times more this year? What's going to happen? And the market's not really liking what they're seeing right now. So,
did y'all like that explanation? Did y'all
are you
see
understanding
what's
it?
happening?
Because my
Just
wife
got
always
educated.
my wife's always telling me, Bob, you need to let Olivia or Vivian, which is our 12 and 14-year-old, them do the mortgage report, because if they could do it and understand it, then maybe your audience will sometimes.
My 11-year-old is reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad right now.
Good deal.
She's like, I said, just circle the words you don't get, and we'll go over it. So you just got educated on, what's happening in the interest rate, and that will have a cyclical effect on buyers' ability to buy.
Look, I mean, interest rates are on the rise, and they have been on the rise for, go back, a year, easily a year. I mean, really since the election, we saw the day after the election, we saw a pretty significant increase in rates, and it was only based on, a lot of it was based on market hype, and that's what I tell people who follow me a lot is, it's not so much the technicals in mortgage bonds or the stock market or anything like that that's driving interest rates. It's the market related news that drives it. So hype has a lot to do with it, because if there's a lot of positivity coming in from an economic standpoint, the economy's strong, stocks are really doing good, money is going into the stock market, that means there's no money left for the bond market. The bond market is what's driving pricing and interest rates. So if money is moving out of that into stocks, interest rates are going up. In times of uncertainty or concerns, and people are not buying stocks, they're pushing money into the safe haven of the bond market. And the safe haven of the bond market means there's a guaranteed longer term payout of the money that you're putting into it. So that's pushing bond prices in a better position and lowering interest rates.
Right.
Okay? And we just haven't been in that place of uncertainty for, well, since the election, because more people think that the economy, it's all think, right? Think and feel. They think and feel that we're in a better place.
Yeah.
So that's why we've been seeing interest rates come up a little bit. I do feel, though, it's still in that place of a what I call a sideways trading range. I don't think we're going to see big peaks and valleys.
We're still in a good position.
We're still in a great position. Interest rates have been rising, but they're not. It's not like we're going to go from 4.5 to 5.5 overnight.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
This is not the days of my grandparents buying houses at 18 and
No,
20%.
no,
We're
no.
good. Yeah.
We're still amazing, even though
we're
we've
good.
seen a little bit of an increase in interest rates. We're in still one of the best places to be able to buy as it relates to monthly payments. There are so many products, loan products that are out there that have been designed back really in what we saw in 2002 to 2006. They were designed then. They went away when the housing crisis happened. They've started to come back, but they've come back in a little bit of a different shape, right? A little bit different form, but the benefit of what those products were are still there. So it's enabling us, even with a little bit of a higher rate, to still drive their monthly payments down, because we're getting rid of mortgage insurance with less than 20% down, because we're able to buy it out now. So there's a lot of creative ways to drive that payment down that we had before the housing crisis. Okay.
Love it.
So hopefully, I don't know if that was a big explanation on that,
I
but
love it. I love it. It's educating. I love it.
It's just, I geek out.
Yeah.
I geek out with stuff like that. And it does bring me to this fact, because a lot of times, guys, and if you're first-time homebuyers that are out there, you'll really understand this, because 1 out of 5 first-time homebuyers right now, they can buy a home, they just don't know they can buy a home.
Exactly.
So why do you feel that is that case?
Because they believe the hype. They believe their friend. Their friend told them, oh, well, you can't buy a house if you don't have this credit score. You got to have 20% down. And instead of coming to the professionals, they listen to the noise that's going on out there.
A lot of noise.
And I bet you a lot of you didn't know that Frisco is giving money away to buy a home. So there's a lot of miseducation going on out there. So there are programs out there that they just don't know about, because they don't come to the experts.
Right, and they feel, right, because you listen to the big mainstream media, not the local market media, which we're local market media, right? They go to mainstream, and mainstream tells you, okay, you need to have a 700 credit score. Mortgage lending is tight. You need to have a 700 credit score. You need to have 20% to put down. Right? You need a lot of money to be able to buy a home. And these first-time homebuyers out there, they're getting started. They're making money. They just haven't had the time yet to save.
Right.
So they get freaked out. It's easy to rent, right? I got to bill. I make the money. I can afford the payment. I just don't want to have this large amount of money.
You're paying your rent, which
is a
some
mortgage.
People are paying a mortgage, but you can't paint a wall. And if you do, you got to repaint it back the way you found it. You can't hang a picture up. You can't put a hole in the wall. If you're in an apartment complex, you can't have your whole family over to celebrate the way you want to. You're tied into that property owner's rules. Whatever they say goes. And if you break those rules, well, you got to pay. And if you have to pay, eventually they're going to put you out. Why not have your own home, your own investment? Well, you set the rules. And that's why I think people get misconstrued. They don't set their own rules. They live by someone else's.
100%. They don't set their rules, and they don't understand two big things. Forced savings. Buying a home is forced savings. Because when you make a payment, right, on that house, a portion of it goes to principal reduction.
Correct. Yes.
Okay? Principal reduction is savings to you, because when you make that rent payment, 100% of it goes to the landlord.
Exactly.
And you get nothing in return for that. So at least when you make a house payment, which is typically sometimes equal to your rent payment, a portion of that money is savings for you. The second part of that is you don't get appreciation when you rent. So you don't get free money, basically.
Equity. Tax credits.
Right. So when you buy the house, every year the house is, at least in this market,
Yeah.
we're seeing every year the house is worth more than what you bought it for.
Yes.
We've seen markets where it's 9, 12, 15% more. I'll use on average when I consult with clients,
Yeah.
I'll use on average 6%.
Yeah.
That's a good number, a base number, because I know in most markets you're going to be seeing a 6% appreciation in our communities right now.
Yeah.
So think about it. Again, when you're renting, there's no appreciation.
No.
That house, well, I take it back. There is appreciation. It's
For
just
the
your
owner.
landlord. It's your owner's.
Your landlord, somebody's
Right.
getting rich
It's just
off
not
of it.
yours.
Yeah.
So you get two things. You get forced savings and
Yeah.
you get appreciation
Absolutely.
on that home. But they don't understand that, and it's because they listen to mainstream media. You don't need a 720 credit score. You don't
No.
need a 700 credit score.
No.
You can buy a home, okay, with a 530 credit score. You can buy a home with a 580 credit score. Now, if you want to buy a home with 530 credit score, that's when you got to bring some cash.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So there are going to be differences when
Yes.
you're in that credit situation. We're going to do one of two things. We're either going to make sure you have the cash to be able to buy, or we're going to work with you to get your score up.
Correct.
Okay. Now, 580 and above, you're good. Minimum down, 3.5% down, right? Because that's what FHA
Yeah.
will allow. Now, there are some awesome programs that you mentioned. The state of Texas, or the city of Frisco will do this. State of Texas offers down payment assistance programs. Now, not just covering down payment, they'll
Yes.
cover down payment and all your closing costs. So literally, at the beginning of this month, I got a client in for $265, which basically equates to, like, I don't know, 60 lattes,
Yeah.
right, from Starbucks. So pass on the lattes, damn it, and go buy a house, because that's what it was. It was like $265.
Yeah.
And we got this lady, this family into a home for that, because we
Yeah.
used the state of Texas grant program. We covered her down payment and her closing costs.
Yes.
And it was just like an
Yeah.
aha moment for this couple, like, holy crap.
And see, that's where people, they listen to mainstream or their friends and they say, oh, well, you can't buy a house with no down payment. Says who? You just heard that, yes, you can.
Well, that's what mainstream national says you can't, because they don't have these programs. Local says you can,
Yes.
because guess what? State trumps. Trumps. I don't mean to use
Yeah.
that, but trumps the
State is
right.
higher.
Right. Then the national side,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're hyper local in the fact that we have
Exactly,
programs
exactly.
that the national side
Yeah.
doesn't.
And I just want to break a myth out there. I recently heard, I was on a Facebook group, and some of the ladies were saying, oh, well, if someone buys a home with using a no down payment program, they're broke and they don't have any money.
Oh, absolutely not.
I'm here to tell you that is not true. If the state of Texas wants to give you money to buy a home, you better take it.
Well, and let me tell you this. I'll change that right now. I did a grant loan for a couple that were teachers. They had over $200,000 in the bank. Okay, over $200,000 in the bank. But we did a grant loan for them. And they're like, and people are like, why would you do a grant loan? You got $200,000 in the bank. Well, they had perfect credit. They had $2 grand. It wasn't like they were non-qualified type clients, right? We did it because it was the best strategy for them.
Correct.
Right? So when we put loans together, it's actually a strategy.
Yeah.
Based on where that money was invested,
Correct.
what the rate of return was
Yes.
that you were getting on that money, how long you're going to live in the home, right? There's so many things that go into putting the right loan together that gives you the lowest total cost of ownership. Okay, yeah, interest rate's part of it,
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
course, because it impacts monthly payments. But there's a bigger holistic
Yes.
picture here,
Yeah.
right? And for them, their money was invested, and it was invested soundly with a really nice rate of return. If we touch that, there's tax implications, right? So we had to factor all that in
Yes.
to what that ownership cost looked like over that 3.5, 4 year period.
Yeah.
It actually worked out better for them to be able to buy their home, $300,000 home, and get everything covered.
Yeah.
Down payment, closing cost, everything covered. They bought a house for free.
And speaking of that, these
And they don't have to pay it
grants-
back.
No, they're not paid back, and they go up to, is it $451, $300?
You can go $453,100.
There you
Ooh,
go.
Look at you. Bam. I love it.
I paid attention.
You paid attention in the class. I love it.
Yeah, so we build a plan, and everyone is individual. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a background. We build a portfolio for you. And if that no down payment assistance program is what you want, we'll build that program to get you in. If you say, hey, I work and live in Frisco, I want some of that grant money, guess what? You can double up. So don't be afraid to reach out and say, I just want to build a plan. The information is always free.
Now you do that in an initial meeting, right? So you now when a client gets a hold of you, right? So they're either gonna call you, they're gonna start out online.
Yes.
How do you like starting out with a client? Is it a quick phone call? Is it a one-on-one meeting? What does that look like?
I want
for
to meet
you?
one-on-one. I'm a people person.
Good.
So I want to meet whomever I'm going to help. Because
like it.
honestly, I want you to be comfortable with working with me. So I want to make sure that, number one, we build a good relationship. So we'll talk about, how's the family? Let's get to know each other a little bit. And then we'll get down to business. Because at the end of the day, if you don't want to work with me and I feel like this is not going to be a good relationship, why waste our time?
Well, and you find out, I really know you find out a lot more about that client
Absolutely.
having conversations.
Yes.
So we talk a lot about this. We don't use words like application.
Right.
Because application is not a feel-good word. It just really isn't. It sucks,
Makes you
honestly.
feel like you're just a number.
You're exactly. You're going to have to give all this information. You're going to
Right.
get it. I want to have a conversation with the client first, because then we can talk about things that they're not even thinking
Yeah.
about that help me help them.
Absolutely.
Right? They're like, why would you ask how long I'm going to be in the house? Why would you ask if I'm going to be moving a family member in with me? Why would you ask these? Because it actually can impact the type of loan that I would recommend.
Right.
So you're doing the same things because you want to know upstairs master, downstairs master,
that's important. It's
right?
important.
Mother-in-law suite, non-mother-in-law. You need to know these types of things.
Right.
Because then, they say that there's Zillow or whoever says there's 400 homes available. No.
C-word.
No, there's not. There's only like 8 homes available that
Right.
you really need to see, because how you've answered these questions, even though they say there's 400, there's really only like 30, and out of those
And
30,
that home
there's
that
only
they said
8.
was active is really not active. It sold a year
Right.
ago. That was my house on Zillow. So
Yeah. So there's really only 8 that you need to really focus on. So you're really hyper focused with that with the
Yeah, I
client.
think it's a relationship building. They're about to share a lot of information with you. And I personally wouldn't want someone to share their passion about buying their home over the phone. Let our first meeting be face-to-face. Let's talk what you need. Let's talk about how I can help you. Let's talk about, is this right for you? Some people
Right.
are, conditioned to renting. They are not ready to buy a home. So if you're not ready, let's talk that out. Let's talk about what it will look like. How would it make you feel to be in a home? Paint that picture for what it looks like.
Feel's important. I love that. Right?
Absolutely.
How would it make you feel to be in a home? Because you really want to know that their mindset is right.
Correct.
They understand that, look, owning has some responsibilities. There's obligations behind it.
Yeah.
But it definitely has a ton of upside.
Yeah.
So let's just make sure you're in the right mindset
And
to
I
do
want their
that.
attention, because if I talk to them over the phone, how many times have we been on the phone and we're doing other things? Yep, I hear you. So they're not getting the full depth of what we're talking about. And I
Good.
want them emotionally tied into buying this home. This is a huge investment.
And you know how important a pre-approval is,
Absolutely.
right? So kind of
Absolutely.
share with them
Yes.
why that's one of the beginning parts of this process.
Yeah. So a pre-approval is extremely important, because when you go to start looking at homes and you can't prove to the seller that you can afford that home, then why would they even consider you? So think about it this way. You have a product. You're selling this laptop, and someone says, I want to buy that laptop. They don't have the money to buy that laptop. They haven't shown you they have the money to buy that laptop. But Bob comes along and says, well, here's my letter that says I can get this laptop. You're going to sell it to Bob. Same way with sellers. If you can't show me that you can buy this home, then don't look at it. Don't submit an offer. You're wasting everyone's time, including yours, because you're going to look at these houses.
And a pre-approval, guys, is actually a conversation where we find out where you've lived and worked for the last couple of years, your income, your assets. We do look at credit, and then we give you a list of items that you need to get to us, like pay stubs, W-2s,
Conditions,
tax returns. We need to vet and see what you told us, whether it's over the phone, in-person meeting. We need to vet all those items are actually accurate. Because believe it or not, sometimes they don't know what they make, or they tell us a number.
Right.
But they told us the net income number, not the gross income number, or they thought it was an hourly wage at 40 hours a week, but it's really
something totally
37.
different. I've been guilty of that.
Right? So, we
Yeah.
really want to see it, because then we can say to the agent,
Yes.
right? Well, to you as our client or buyer's agent, but then to the seller, these people have been vetted. They've been pre-approved, and we can close this loan, right? That's why, guys, it's important to get all those documents to us. So, and a vetting process for them now, for the buyers that are out there, what should they be asking to make sure they're choosing the right real estate agent and then the right lender? What are some of those questions that you feel is important for them to know?
So one of the biggest questions that you want to ask is, how are you going to help me? That's the biggest question, because a lot of people just talk. But how are you going to help me specifically? If they tell you, oh, well, I'm gonna throw you this huge party, and that helps a lot of people who want to come to the party. How are you going to help me? What are you going to do to get me into this home? Ask them questions like, when are you going to be available? Ask them questions like, when can we go see homes? Because believe it or not, some people, you meet with them and then you never see them again. They're not showing you homes. They're passing you off to someone else. So I want to know that if I'm going to work with you, I'm going to see you again. I'm going to at least talk to you again. I'm going to have a relationship with you. So ask them about, hey, how do you feel about our relationship in this business? There are some people out there who are not relationship driven. It's all about the numbers on a contract. So this is your biggest investment. Ask as many questions as you can possibly think of related to your transaction. Ask them, how long is this process going to take me? What's the average number of homes that people look at before they buy a home? For me, it could be 4 to 5 homes. So we're on home 15, something's not right.
Something's not right, exactly.
So that means that either I didn't ask a lot of questions, or
the way you answered it was not right. Yeah.
Exactly. So you want to be sure to ask those questions. You want to be sure to ask, well, how long is it going to take me to close? Your realtor should be going through the entire contract with you before you go see a home.
Time kills deals, speed wins, baby. So we got to be dialed in together as a team, right? Because if we're going to be making offers, we need to make them correct and to close quickly.
Yeah, I can't wait until, okay, well, I want to make an offer on this house, but I don't understand the contract. We're going to do that up front. We're going to go over the contract so you understand what's an option fee, what is an earnest fee, what does an inspector do, what does an appraiser do. You need to know these things before you start moving forward. I want to make sure you're educated. So ask those questions. Ask people about the inspection process, the appraisal process. Ask them about, how will I get into these homes? And ask them those questions so that you know what you're walking into and you're better educated and you're not just making it up as you go along.
Man, that you just dropped some wisdom right there. I love that. Thank you, man. That was some good details.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and I think you also need, as consumers, you need to vet and say, what is the agent's communication strategy?
Correct.
How will you communicate with me? Do you communicate via video? Do you communicate via text? Can I communicate with you? You know, is there windows of time, right? Do you shut off at a certain time? How do you handle Sundays? I mean,
Most questions are not asked.
Right. I'm very upfront with people as to my availability.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much all the time except Sunday mornings, right? That's reserved for the man upstairs and family and stuff like that. But outside of that, you got to be available because a lot of things happen after work.
Right.
And so, but you need to ask that because sometimes there are people that just don't, and they shut down at some points, and there's no right or wrong, guys. There isn't. There's no right or wrong answer.
Correct.
If an agent says I don't work after 6 o'clock, well, that's their choice.
Right.
You need to know that because that may not fit into your schedule.
You need to be comfortable with that. That's the problem. So if they say something, if they give you a response and you're not comfortable with that, say something. Don't walk away from the table and say, wow, I really like this person, but not working on Sundays, that's a deal breaker for me. Communicate. Because they may have someone who can answer questions for you on Sundays to make it easier for you. So communication is extremely important, and you got to tell them how you want to be communicated with. So having that conversation up front, hey, I'm a texter. Don't get me on the phone because I'm working 24/7. So having that open, honest communication is extremely important.
And speaking of that, it's like proactive communication.
Correct.
Right. You should, and I know, we know the questions that they're probably going to ask before they ask them. So how good are we at answering them before they ask them, right? So it's what's that communication strategy look like? What is the path that you're leading me down? How are you answering these questions for me? Because I don't want to feel as a consumer that I have to ask you everything. I'm not the expert, right? Are you doing what you should be doing, which is answering the majority of them?
And I love that because when I have my consultations, I always ask at the end of the consultation, what questions do you have? And the answer is, I don't have any questions.
I really don't have a lot.
Because I try to answer everything. And I tell them, hey, listen, I'm going to throw a lot of information at you. I don't expect you to remember it. Because we'll go back and just like in the classroom, we're going to go back and we're going to go high level and then we're going to bring it back down low level and we're going to do some practicing together, some role play. And then I'm going to send you out there to do
My
it
wife
on
would
your
hate
own.
that. I don't know. She doesn't do role play. She just goes. I love role play.
I know, and it's important that I want you to see a contract before we get a deal. And let's say you're on vacation and, oh my gosh, this house just popped up and I do a video walkthrough for you, like that's the one. I need to be able to send you an electronic contract for you to sign and I'd say, well, let me break down each part of this contract. No, I want to make sure you're comfortable with it before we even leave the consultation. Because if you're not comfortable with an option fee, you're not comfortable with earnest money, or you don't have the reserve for an inspection, or you're like, well, what the heck is an appraisal? We need to make sure all that's taken care of before we even start the search process.
I love that, guys. That's a lot of wisdom. So if you're out there thinking about buying a home, this is your lady to get really taught, right? Whether you use her or not. I know that's her giving mentality. Whether you're using her or not, she's willing to teach.
Yes.
So I think it's a great thing to be able to do, which is give.
About education.
Now it's kind of switching gears, but
Yes.
kind of keeping it in line, teaching and educating.
Yes.
One of your things is a mentor,
Yes.
right? A business coach and mentor, and you have the Tinglin group,
Yes.
which is your real estate group. And I'm assuming based on that, you're bringing agents into the fold to help them build and develop their business. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. So I am a business coach and mentor with Keller Realty, and basically what that means is I'm gonna challenge you. I'm gonna push you. So if you come into a consultation and you say, well, Shelyna, I wanna make $250,000. I'm gonna tell you, okay, that's awesome, now double it. And you're like, wait, what? Like, yeah, let's double it. Let's go and make it hard, make it challenging. Why? Because it's gonna be fun. And I challenged my group. We did a scavenger hunt, and they all looked at me like, you want us to do what? Yes, I want you to go out there and find 10 people you don't know. And I want you to talk to them. But they got to be wearing purple, or this one has to be wearing this. Because I want you to step out that comfort zone. You came into this business for a purpose, to make money. If you didn't come here to make money and have fun, then I suggest you go do something else. But if you're here to have fun, to give to people and make money, why not do that? Why not go out there and meet new people, build relationships with people? So with my mentoring, it's kind of like hand-holding. So basically, if you get a contract, I'm right there. If you need me to go to a buyer consultation with you, I'm there. If you got a listing appointment you need me to go, I'm there. If you're like, hey, I don't really know what to say and I'd like to shadow you, let's do it. If you got an open house and you're like, I'm really not sure, can you come? That's what I do. So that's what sets me apart from the coaching, from the mentor side, because most coaches, you get a 30-minute phone call and, what are you working on? That's great. What are we going to do next week? No, for me, why haven't we done that action? This is what you said you wanted to do, but you haven't done it. Let's talk through why now.
So most of the time when we get into whether it's real estate sales or lending sales, right? The conversation kind of starts off with, okay, what's the amount of money you're going to make, right? What do you want to make?
Goals?
Right, that's kind of where I guess a lot of people start out with is I want to be here, right? That's great, and I love what you just did, which is okay. Let's double that because I'm the same way. If you want to make whatever it is, let's 10x that.
Yeah, why
because
not?
because it's a big, I call it a bag, right? Big, hairy, audacious goal, which is from a great book, right? What's your bag? And I want to know what that 10x number is, and then I want to see, do you have the mental capacity to break down the daily activities that you're going to have to do to reach that 10x number, okay? Because then it's an accountability way for me to, as you said, coach them, but watch them do the activities on a daily basis to reach the 10x number. Now, what happens is they may fall back a little bit.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, but if they're falling back, they're typically falling back to a number that's even bigger than what they originally told me to, if they're committed to the daily activities. And I love to see that.
And I do
I
a
love
lot
to
of
see
dual
that.
career. Right now, the majority of the people that I coach and mentor are dual career, meaning they have a full-time job, they've come into real estate, and they want to transition out. This past week, I've had 2 already turn in their 2-week resignations because they're ready to go full-time.
You're kidding me.
So I'm excited. They've reached their goal in saying, you know what, I'm ready to do this full-time. And my job is to support. If you tell me, hey, I want to be out of my current job by September 1st, these are the actions we need to do to get you there by September 1st. So. And
you're wanting to see, really, I mean, in a dual career, it's hard.
It's very hard.
Very hard.
I did it for 2
right?
years.
Right. So you're really going to want to see their activities. How committed are they to those daily activities? Because the numbers are great. I mean, I love people that want to throw out these big numbers. Great, awesome. I'm more interested in what you're doing today, and then tomorrow, and then the next day, because that will truly tell me how committed you are to this profession. Because there's a lot of people out there that do what you do, that do what I do. Right? There's a very few that rise to the top, like you have and like I have, right? And it is because of our commitment to the daily activities that get us there, right?
And I mean, anybody can go and get a realtor license and say, I'm going to sell real estate. You got to set yourself apart. What makes you different? What makes you unique? What makes you apart from that realtor who's sitting right next to you? And that's what I love about this business is I am different. I am unique. I can be a little crazy. I know that may scare some people off, but that's okay. I get compassionate about what I do. My coaching clients are my family. My clients are my family, and I treat them like that.
Well, the thing because I sit down with a lot of agents as well, and some of them are new, and I tell them, look, the one thing that you have to bring every single day is enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Because it's contagious, and the other people will hear it.
Yeah.
And then if you have great people surrounding you, like yourself, to help coach you, then you're going to be able to provide that level, that value, right? That level of expertise, that level of value, because it's okay to say, I don't know.
Yes.
And then what you do is say, I don't know, but here's what I'm going to do to find out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get back to you by this day and time, and then you better go perform.
Right.
But you have to have a network of people around you to help you find that information, and then you have to execute. It's okay to say, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Don't try to fake it.
No, please don't, because eventually the truth will come out, and it would only make you look foolish. So I think by saying, you know what, I'm not really sure, but I'll find the answer, or I'll help you find the answer. So I like to have people navigate the answer themselves. Self-discovery is really big. But no, I can't be the master of everything. Absolutely not.
So you are looking to continue to build the Tinglin Group? Yeah,
I'd love to. Right now, I'm really enjoying the coaching and working with my clients. It makes me smile sometimes. So, so with my group right now, I will be looking to bring on an admin and a showing assistant.
Awesome.
But it's not going to be like a quick jump-in process, because I do have people reaching out saying, hey, I'm currently working, I'm considering real estate, so how do I do that?
Yep.
So I've kind of been focused on helping them get into real estate and just showing them how it's done. And someone who's done this for 2 years, I can tell you it's not easy, but when you surround yourself with the right people, it can be.
Well, I tell you, I did surround myself with the right person today, because you came in here. You came in here, you were like, Bob, we got all these cameras, we got all this stuff. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're a natural at this stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it's just, I knew it. I mean, it was the personality, it's the passion that you have for what it is. It's just a conversation.
When you love what you do, you get excited. And I see people post these memes on Facebook, Monday's coming. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, Monday is coming. I'm so excited I get to get these appointments done.
Well, the people that say, oh, Monday's coming, hate what they do.
Correct.
Right?
Call me if you hate what you do. I can help you fix that.
Right. So I do what I do 7 days a week. So there is no Monday for me. It's just a job, or not a job. It's what I'm most passionate about, my career. And it is because I love to give.
Yes.
And with that mentality, and I'm open to receiving, right?
That's big.
Right. So I give and I'm open to receiving. My struggle is we receive so much that I always have to look for great people to surround myself with, so that we can make sure that we're always giving that level of experience and feel that we want to give to the client, because it's important for me that they feel as if we only have one client. Right?
Like you're not a number, you are a person that is, and I tell you, people meet my husband, they meet my children, and I do a lot of client events, I do events in general, and my family is there because we are all now one big family. So welcome to the Crazy Train.
Welcome to the Crazy Train. Hey guys, this has been the Jam Session with Shelyna Tinglin, and I am so thankful that you guys gave us your eyes, your ears today. I really do appreciate it. I hope we dropped some awesome wisdom on you. If you're looking for an awesome realtor, a mentor, a coach, please look her up. All our details will be in the Facebook live stream for you to be able to catch up with her. We'd love to be able to hear from you. But thank you so much. And as always, hey, like it, share it. If we nailed it, give us a 5-star review. If we sucked, give me a 1-star. I get it.
If I sucked, give me 5 stars. I'll fix it later.
Hey, I want the feedback, man. It's my oxygen. So let me know how we did, because we do this for a reason. I want to bring so much value and content to you guys. I want to bring a lot of attention to her so that we can help build that brand.
Thank you.
But most importantly, man, go out there and make somebody else's life better. So peace out. Enjoy your day.
Smile at someone today. You may change their life.
Take care. See ya.